Hey y'all, today we're going to be rolling slabs, and to do that you just need a couple of things. You'll need clay, of course, a porous working surface, so your board will do in a pinch, although it's on the small side. If you can get a hold of a larger piece of drywall and tape off the edges so that you don't worry about getting plaster in, that would be really wonderful. If you have a wooden table that is not sealed, that could also work. You just something that is non-porous and basically the clay will stick to, because that will just make rolling clay out really difficult. So again, your board will do just fine. You're also going to need something to roll with. So you can usually find rolling pins like this at the thrift store, no problem. Again, this porous wooden surface is ideal. You don't want a plastic or marble rolling pin. If you can't find one of those, then you can find something around your house like a wine bottle, and I'll show you some tricks for using something like that as well. So we're going to start with a block of clay, and the first thing that I do is I actually, instead of rolling, I actually give it a smack with the rolling pin, and I basically start to bring the height down first. So once I've done that, notice I'm working on the more inner piece of the clay versus the outside. Same thing as with the pinch pots. Because there is clay here and here, we can use more force. And because there isn't clay here, this will want to get, pancakey and thin before we're ready for it to do it. So just like with the pinch pot where we stay away from the rim, we're going to stay away from the edges. Now I'm going to pick this up, flip it and reverse it. And I like to move around my surface so that I'm staying away from the wettest area, because this will absorb moisture. And I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, so now we've got a pretty good rectangle, and I'm going to do the same thing, pick it up, flip it and reverse it. And now I'm going to start to roll. But once again, I'm going to stay away from the edges. So I'm going to roll out a bit. Pick it up, flip it and reverse it. Roll out a bit. Same thing. Okay, and when I've gotten to about a 1/4 inch thick, and again we're looking for consistency more than the actual measurement, we just want to make sure that this is pretty consistently even. And there we go, I've got a slab. Because we've pushed the clay out and all the particles are kind of pushed out, we want to compress our slab so that it's nice and strong. I'm going to use my metal rib, and I'm just going to basically smooth this out. You could also use like a little window squeegee. That would work really well for this. So I'm not pressing very hard. As you can see, I'm really just almost running it across it. Pick it up, flip it, reverse it. Smooth it out on this side too. And now you've got a nice compressed slab. Your thickness is going to just depend on what you're making. So if you are making a test tile or a test cylinder, you can go a little thinner, so between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. And if you are building, say, a huge life-size self-portrait, then maybe you would go on the thicker side, so like a 1/2 of an inch. Now I'm going to show you how to roll a slab if you don't have a rolling pin. So I'm going to use my board, and I'm going to use this water bottle. Because this water bottle is metal, it's kind of sticky. To avoid that, we're going to just use a piece of cloth. So any kind of smooth cloth. Cotton is best. A bandana would be great. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to just do a little bit of pushing down. I am working a bit blindly, it's true. I'm going to pick it up, flip it, and reverse it. Put this back down. Okay. Do this one more time. Pick it up, flip it, and reverse it. Now I'm going to actually roll. It's like a magic trick. Again, I'm staying away from the edges. Pick it up, flip it, and reverse it. I'm going to do the same thing. Now, this is almost as long as my rolling pin, but it gets smaller up here, so I'm just going to move it and just try to stay really even. Okay, So this is a little less perfect than the last one. So a couple of differences. The wood is a little rougher than the drywall, so you can see I'm getting a bit of wood texture. That is fine. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to smooth it out with my metal rib. If you have a rubber rib, those actually work really great, but this metal rib comes in our kit. Pick it up, turn it over, and do the same thing. You're gonna get a little more texture in general if you're working on the wood, although the wood you have maybe a little bit smoother than this piece. But yeah, there we go.